Hi, I'm Robert. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop. Before you begin any repair, unplug the appliance from the wall outlet. It is also recommended that you check for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. The tools required for this job are a number 2 Phillips driver and a 1/4 inch driver. Today we're working on a Hotpoint top mount refrigerator. We've determined that the heater is open. We're going to go ahead and replace that defrost heater today. To do this, we'll need to get behind that back wall of the freezer. We'll start by removing the ice maker and the shelf. So let's go ahead and set the ice bucket on top of the refrigerator. We'll remove the 2 screws that are holding the ice maker in place, number 2 Phillips. You support the ice maker with your hand. Bring it down. Pull back on the 2 retaining straps on the Molex and pull the Molex straight out. Set the ice maker on top of the refrigerator. The shelf you lift up and then slide it to one side or the other. Then lift up on the side that you've gotten out of the holes and pull it right out. We'll set that aside. Now first we're going to remove this cover right here by pulling forward on the back and then down on the sides. We'll set that aside. And then we're going to remove the 2 1/4 inch screws. Now with the screws removed, we can pull this panel off and we'll set it aside. And then this duct, we pull up on it and out, and then it comes out of place. Now we have a Molex plug here that the ice maker was connected to. We're going to push up on the bottom pin and push down on the top while pushing the Molex through the panel, like so. We're going to remove 2 screws, 1/4 inch hex screws, 1 from each top corner. Now, the panel is held in by 2 plastic clips, 1 on either side of the evaporator fan motor. So we'll pull those out slightly. And pull the panel forward and out. Disconnect our ground that's attached to the bottom of the panel. Now with the evaporator cover removed, we have clear access to the evaporator. We're going to remove the 2 diffusers, 1 on each side. What they do is they direct the airflow from the refrigerator into the center of the evaporator via channels. We'll set those aside. You want to be careful with these so you don't break the styrofoam. Gently slide them out of place. The heater is held in place by a single tab that is bendable on either side, as well as 1 ceramic block in the middle approximately. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull on this rod while we're pressing up on the ceramic block and bring it down, and then move the evaporator slightly forward while we push in Allow the back to drop out of position, and then remove it completely. Now we're going to fold our side tabs in and allow our heater to drop out of position. And then unplug our wires from either side. And the heater is removed. We'll set that aside. Now that we have a new heater, let's go ahead and install it. First, you want to visually inspect the part to make sure it's in good condition. You could even put an ohm meter from terminal to terminal to make sure that you have continuity through the heater. So let's slide our heater behind the ground wire. Kind of lay it in place, and we'll plug our wire terminals back into the heater. Now with the wires plugged in, we'll bring the heater back and slide it up into place. You want these notches to go over the metal flats back here on the bottom of the evaporator, and then slide it up. We'll take the first tab and fold it back in place. Then we'll go to this side and fold that tab back in place. And then we'll take our insulating ceramic block and we'll work that back into position. Want to pull the evaporator out slightly in the back there and slide the rod up. What you're doing is you're sliding it up over the evaporator tubing, and then once you get it in place, you want to push on the rods so that they just kind of hang on the evaporator tubing and support that heater. Now we can reinstall the evaporator cover panel. Prior to reinstalling the rear panel, we want to get the diffusers back in place. You want to make sure that these edges that are flat are going to be to the front. So this one will go on the right. And this one will go on the left. Now, if you did not have these diffusers in place, the air would not be properly returned from the refrigerator to the evaporator. So you wouldn't get as much cooling in the refrigerator as you should. Now with the diffusers in place, we can continue installing the rear cover. We have this lip that goes across the center here. We're going to reconnect our ground wire to it. I'm going to move it over about an inch because where it was connected is rusty, and that does not make for a good ground. With that connected, we can push the bottom cover back, and then we'll put our Molex for our ice maker back through till it pops, and then lift up on the fill tube to allow it to come through its channel, and then bring the panel back and make sure that the center pins latch. Now we'll reinstall our 1/4 inch PEX screws on each corner. And then we'll reinstall our air duct for the ice maker. Now we can reinstall the air tower or duct. Start with the center first. Get it on, and there's a little tab at the bottom of it. Goes right in that hole. Then the upper with the cover. This just collars right over the top of that rear air tower there. And then we'll install our 2 1/4-inch hex screws. Then the cover, tab forward, get that in position and push up, and it locks in place. Now we'll take our shelf, concaved end to the back so that it straddles over the air duct. Because we have an ice maker, you want to use the bottom holes. Slide the shelf in and over, then over, and let it drop down. Now we'll take our ice maker and get our mounting screws. We'll get those started first. Now we'll take our ice maker and we'll put it in place on the shelf. Plug in our Molex plug. Then bring your ice maker up and line it up with the fill tube. And you want to just kind of rotate the ice maker onto the mounting screws and let it hang there. And then we'll get our number 2 Phillips bit and we'll tighten down those mounting screws for the ice maker. And your ice maker is installed. Bring the ice bucket back in. And that completes the repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.